Welcome back, everybody, to your stimulus update for today. On this episode, we're going to go straight to the source. I'm going to show you an interview that Nancy Pelosi did today with Bloomberg, in which she spoke extensively about the next stimulus package. And then I'm going to show you an interview that a congressman did who's a part of the Problem Solvers Caucus, and he spoke about the proposal that we've all been hearing about. Once again, welcome back to your stimulus update for today, Friday, September 18th. By this point, I'm sure you have all heard the good news that the next stimulus package and bill is looking better and better all the time. Negotiations have reopened up. We have new proposals on the table. It seems like a lot of the leaders are on board. And so I figured on this episode, I would bring you straight to the source because remember, this is facts, not hype. And what better way to stick to the facts than to give you the information directly from those who are in charge. So this first interview is going to be from Nancy Pelosi. She's speaking to Bloomberg and she's giving some extensive information about the next stimulus package and her willingness to negotiate. After that, I am going to show you an interview from an individual who is a part of the Problem Solvers Caucus who introduced this amazing proposal to get things going. And after both of these interviews, don't go away because I am going to share with you the dates, what you should look forward to when they will finally get a bill made, because this Problem Solvers Caucus proposal is not a bill yet, but the bill is coming. I'm going to tell you when and possibly how long it will take. So let's go ahead and get right into the interview with Nancy Pelosi.
The head of Bank of America earlier today said we need more stimulus. We need it for the people who really are hurting right now. Where are we on that deal right now? You came in at 3.5, came down to 2.2. The Republicans were well south of that. Now we have a $1.5 trillion compromise. Where are you?
Well, I am at 2.2. I represent our caucus. The Senate and Democrats and the House Democrats agreed on the 3.4, the HEROES Act. I don't know why that the Republicans didn't think American people were worthy of that investment, but they didn't. So
just going to briefly stop it right there. I don't like this statement that she makes a lot, that the American people weren't worthy of that investment. Like, we offered a $3.4 trillion HEROES Act, and they didn't think Americans were worthy of that. So why not just offer a $5.5 trillion bill? How about a $7.4 trillion bill? What, you don't think Americans are worthy of a $7.4 trillion bill? That statement is ridiculous because it's not just about being worthy of it. It's also about being fiscally smart too. I mean, we're increasing our debt every single time we do this. So what we need to do is we need to help the American people out. We need to get money into the pockets of the average American person, but we also got to be smart about it too. So it's not about they're not worthy of it. You're lawmakers. You're supposed to compromise. So generally, I don't like that statement that she brings up over and over again.
Taking some of the time off of it, not changing any priorities, but shortening the time at which the law would apply, we came down, took down $1 trillion, asked them to come up $1 trillion, which they didn't. Then we said, we'll meet you halfway. That's at 2.2. But as your show has demonstrated, and if that was Brian, I couldn't see, said there are other issues that have emerged because the administration has had contempt for science, not done what the scientists have recommended in terms of testing, tracing, treating, distancing, sanitation, mask wearing, and the rest. We have not improved our situation from a health standpoint. So therefore, whether it's airlines or restaurants or small business and the rest, there's some additional needs. We say 2.2 is our figure. If we have to negotiate for some of these additional things, that would come out of the hide of our priorities we had before, but if that's what the traffic will bear. So we'll negotiate with the administration and the Republicans on this, not with ourselves. Now, the other point is that
Notice what she just said right there. If you need to rewind, you can. She said, we will negotiate with the Republicans in the White House, not amongst ourselves. And then he was about to intercede and kind of ask her a question, but she stopped him by continuing forward. They don't want to negotiate amongst themselves. She's talking about, I don't want to negotiate with the Problem Solvers Caucus. We're not negotiating with Democrats anymore. There's no Democrat to Democrat thing going on. That's what she was saying there. We'll talk to the White House. We'll talk to the Republicans. But amongst ourselves, we're settled. I'm in charge. That's basically what she's saying. So just so you understand, if you want, you can rewind it and take a look at it and come up with your own opinion on it. But that's pretty much as far as I'm concerned, what she is saying there. Now, that's if she wants to think that way, she can. I think it would be nice, though, if you do actually compromise and negotiate within your own party as well, rather than just delivering upon them what you say is acceptable and then asking them all to vote on it, which we clearly know many, if not hundreds, of Democrats within the House have already signed letters or have put their name a part of a letter and said, hey, we need to compromise more than what you're willing to do. And there's even some calls to take Nancy Pelosi out of this thing entirely, because it's almost singularly becoming her who's holding this up. It almost seems like every other person is starting to agree with each other, except for Nancy Pelosi.
That with all of this, quoting the chairman of the Fed, he has again and again said we need his monetary policy, yes, our fiscal policy. He said elected officials have the power to tax and to spend. It's really important that we have a substantial package. He also said that the state and local governments their fiscal stability is important to our economy. And he has also said that unless we get rid of the virus, we're never going to really solve our economic problems. So that's what our bill does. Many of the things that help state and local government tries to crush the virus, and also does so in a way that helps people, puts money in the pockets of the American people so they can spend. We're, as you know better than I,
in this sense, I would actually wish that she would negotiate with her Democrat counterparts, because the Problem Solvers Caucus bill actually puts more money into your pocket than her bill does, because there is one stimulus check involved in it and then an optional second and third stimulus check possibly, but not in Nancy Pelosi's bill. So she's talking about putting money in the American people's pocket. She might want to negotiate a little bit with her Democrat counterparts rather than giving so much more money away to state and local governments rather than the American people.
A consumer economy, so consumer confidence being very important in all of this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You mentioned negotiating with the administration. The administration has sent signals, they weren't very subtle, saying they're interested in something like that $1.5 trillion compromise, which would have, as I understand it, $450 a week, not $600, but $450 a week for people, at least for 8 weeks, and also would have $500 billion for the states, not the 900 you asked, but not the 100 that the Republicans have said. Isn't something better than nothing?
No, it's a missed opportunity. It's a missed opportunity.
Am I allowed to facepalm at that? I mean, did you hear that? The interviewer said, isn't something better than nothing? And when he's saying something, he's not talking about a little something. He's talking about $1.5 trillion to possibly $2 trillion, depending on the qualifiers that might be included as well. Isn't that better than nothing? Nancy Pelosi, no. Really? There's a reason why hundreds of Democrat colleagues of hers are putting their names to letters telling her we need to change up what we're doing here. And there's a move almost to take her out of this entirely. It's just ridiculous. She's basically telling you there's a proposal now to give you money and possibly a second check and a third check. But moving forward, let me show you the difference in an interview with one of the members of Congress who are part of the Problem Solvers Caucus who wrote this proposal up, this $1.5 trillion proposal, which has been amazing and has reinvigorated negotiations and hope for another stimulus package. Watch the difference in his demeanor and his statements. It sounds like he's much more connected with the average American person than Nancy Pelosi, but you can decide for yourself.
Let's talk about this with Congressman Dan Meuser, who joins us, Republican from Pennsylvania, on Capitol Hill today. He's a member of what they call the House Problem Solvers Caucus, and I know that group just released its own compromise for relief aid that Chad was kind of referring to in his report, Congressman. So is this what saves us? Tell us a little bit about the bill, in particular if there's money for the state governments in there, which I know the Democrats have been pushing hard for.
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you, what Chad said is absolutely right. I agree. We keep offering opportunities to come to the table. The President does, the Senate does twice, the House does, the Republican leadership. Look, we're listening to our constituents back home, and I assume most Democrats do as well, but you wouldn't know it from what's happening, what's coming out of Speaker Pelosi's office. Yes, I am part of the Problem Solvers Caucus, and what we do is we've got 25 Republicans, we've got 25 Democrats. I'm a conservative Republican. And we did, however, come to an agreement. We came to some terms. Now, I don't agree with a good amount of what's in that proposal. but I agree with enough of it to advance it along and have others and we as caucuses work on a bill that serves the American people during the height of a crisis that we're dealing with here. You know, Nancy Pelosi, once again, and the leadership simply won't address the needs of the people. They're focused on the needs of their politics. And even Democrats are getting fed up.
But in the bill, you do have...
I do like the fact that he says, I don't agree with a bunch of what's in there, but you know what? We came to terms. We agreed with these other group of Democrats and came to terms with what we need to get done for the American people. And he's saying Nancy Pelosi is doing politics, and I believe she is. I think she's playing politics. I don't think this has anything to do with the American people. If it had to do with the American people, this $1.5 trillion bill that's going to actually almost probably be $2 trillion bills, depending on the qualifiers, is something that she should be excited about. This looks like this can happen, but she's not. No, we can't pass that, she said. We got to stick to this. That's not for the American people. That is for herself and for politics. I do like the fact that he says, I don't agree with everything that's in there, but we moved it along because the American people need this.
Have some state and local money, right? I mean, because that, again, that seems to be... If that was in there, you know, I know a lot of Republicans don't want it in there, but if that was in there, that seems to be what the Democrats are pushing so hard for or holding out for. At least that's what they say.
It's in there. There's $400 billion in the Problem Solvers Caucus bill. And meanwhile, most states, even Pennsylvania, still have money from the previous CARES Act. So there's a tremendous amount. It's only $100 billion less than the HEROES Act. Now, I need to see, before I would vote for such a bill, where that's going. I hope a lot of it needs to be going to transportation infrastructure. But again, how close is that? And yet the Democrat leadership comes out and denounces the bill virtually hours after, not the bill, the proposal from the Problem Solvers Caucus.
Right.
So once again, just plain politics, unwillingness to negotiate, a real willingness to keep the issue alive and not solve the problem.
Yeah, this is in Pennsylvania on Capitol Hill today. He's
people, they're focused on the needs of their politics.
Local say.
While most states, even Pennsylvania, still have money. Tremendous amount. It's only only $100. I need to see before I would vote for such a transportation infrastructure. But again, how close it comes out and denounces the bill virtually hours after, not the bill, the proposal from the Problem Solvers Caucus.
Right.
So once again, just plain politics, unwillingness to negotiate, a real willingness to keep the issue alive and not solve the problem.
This isn't going to get done, is it, Congressman? I mean, you know, besides what you want to see happen, but you know how these things work. You're just talking about it. This doesn't look good, right?
The last 2 years has been very, very disappointing. Incredible amount of opportunity lost. The 116th Congress should be embarrassed at what wasn't accomplished. But any time it seems that, or 2 times anyway, that it's come down to it, and the people start demanding, and we see moderate, if you will, Democrats coming out and going up against the leadership. And we had 25 members of the Problem Solvers Caucus, 25 Democrats, that is, supportive of doing something, and it's in the 1.5 trillion range. We've gotten breakthroughs before, so I think we can deliver for the American people. The president wants to, the Republican leadership wants to. We need Nancy Pelosi to negotiate and do what's right in the interests of our economy, of our schools, of the rioting in the streets, and in finding remedies and vaccines for the virus. We can all agree on that.
How many of you, when you hear what this gentleman is saying, it resonates with you? You agree so much. This is exactly what we're watching. There are good people in Congress who do understand that they need to compromise. We can't be partisan. We need to come to an agreement. People in America need help. They really do. I mean, there's so many unemployed right now who have lost their job because of this pandemic, who have lost their job because the government has basically forced them out of a job as well. We have parents who are staying home with their kids because schools cannot have kids come in there yet. Everyone's trying their best, but at this point, this is the moment in which the government could assist the American people, and they need to, but we need to be smart about it too. That doesn't mean we just throw out any figures or any numbers. Like I told you up front in the video, I'm going to give you the important dates that you need to look forward to, because this proposal right now is not a bill yet. It's just a proposal. And so next week, look for a bill to be written, possibly next week or the week after that. Negotiations are opening up up once again between the White House and Nancy Pelosi. Steven Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi are talking with each other again, and now they have new proposals on the table. There's new excitement going around. Donald Trump is for this. Mark Meadows is for this. Powell is for this. It seems like many of the Republicans in the House are for this. Many of the Democrats in the House are for this. Hundreds of Democrats have signed letters. So let's get something done. Those negotiations, if they go well, they will turn what is a proposal right now through negotiations into a new bill. If a new bill shows up next week or the week after that, we are good as gold. If I had a chart, if a bill comes out, we're at 99% that this is going to happen. If a bill does not come out next week or the week after that based off of negotiations, then what's probably going on is Nancy Pelosi is not budging at all. And why is she not budging? Because she's doing it for the American people. The American people don't want her to budge. I don't know where everyone lives who listens to this channel, but if you live in the district that Nancy Pelosi is a part of, you need to let her know it's time for her to budge, because she is clearly not listening to anybody but herself. She keeps saying she's listening to the American people. I don't know who she's listening to. I don't hear anybody saying this is what Nancy Pelosi should be doing. I look at the comments. Overwhelmingly, over 90% of you are saying we need to come to a deal. The 1.5 trillion is good. We need something. We need more money. I don't know who she's listening to anymore. What voices are going in her head right now? I don't really understand it. If there's a bill, we're in good shape. If we're not, she's not budging. That means that the October 2nd session is going to come up and they're going to leave. But Nancy Pelosi said she will stay in session until something gets done, which means then we're going to be watching Nancy Pelosi and the Democrat leaders stay there and continue negotiations while everyone leaves. And if they do finally come up with something after October 2nd, then everyone is supposed to come back and then vote on whatever bill is proposed. I hope you guys enjoy this, getting the facts straight from the sources themselves, seeing what everyone is saying. I do give my analysis on it, but you can come to your own opinion and your own thoughts as well. I do think things are really good right now. It's a great environment in which nearly all individuals who are a part of this are finally coming together to put a bill forth that will finally benefit the American people, offer additional stimulus payments and the help that the American economy needs. Right now, it seems to me that there is only one individual who is standing in the way of that, and that individual is Nancy Pelosi, not the Democrats. The Democrats aren't standing in the way of it. It's Nancy Pelosi. It's an individual at this point. Hopefully, she will relent truly, as she says, for the American people, because this is a good bill that has been proposed and it can be negotiated and passed. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, if you haven't subscribed by now, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Thank you all again for coming along with me. As always, I will catch you next time.